Hola, estudiantes. Today we're going to take a look at adjective agreement. So the first thing that we need to know is that in Spanish, adjectives must agree with their noun in gender and number. So by gender, I mean masculine or feminine. And by number, I mean singular or plural. So we know that nouns can be masculine or feminine. We know that they could be singular or plural. We have singular and plural in English. If I want to say pencil, I can also make that plural and say I have not one pencil, but two pencils. So we add S or ES in English to make nouns plural. Now, gender, we have that for people, but we don't really have that for things. So let's talk about how to know in Spanish if it's masculine or feminine. We have some basic endings, like masculine endings are typically O, feminine endings are A, da, sion, but sometimes there are exceptions for that. So what it really comes down to is the article. If you look up a word in the dictionary, if it's a noun, it's going to have el, la, los, or las in front of it. So remember, el is masculine, la is feminine. And then if it's plural, it will have los in front of it, or las in front of it. So los is masculine, las is feminine. So like with our clothing vocabulary, el calcetín, we would not know based on that word that it's masculine. So we know that it's el calcetín. So that tells us that it is masculine. To make that plural, it would be los calcetines, because that ends in a consonant, so we added a S. Feminine words, la falda. Now that is obvious, it ends in an A, but remember sometimes there are exceptions, so you always want to double check and make sure that that article is what you think it is. And then if we wanted to say the skirts plural, we just add an S there because falda ends in a vowel. So that would be las faldas, the skirts. All right, so that's information that we already know. So let's move on to the gender of our articles, of our adjectives. So first off, to find an adjective, if you look in a dictionary, generally it's going to give you the singular masculine adjective. So if it's an adjective that ends in possibly an O or an A, it's probably going to be an O in the dictionary. So if you need to change that adjective and make it feminine, so changing it from masculine and feminine, if it ends in an O, the basic word, like rojo, blanco, negro, then you're going to change it to an A to go with your noun. If it ends in anything else, like a Z or an R or a Q or anything, you're going to leave it alone. All right, so let's take a look at our three examples here. My shirt is yellow. So the noun here is shirt. And the shirt, noun, it's like the sun. It is the most important thing in the sentence. Everything is going to revolve around it, all right? So we have to know the word for shirt. That's the big important word there. So we know shirt is camisa. So then to say my shirt, it will be mi camisa. And then is, that's from that verb ser, it is, es. And then yellow, this is our new thing. So we need to know our basic word for yellow is, it's amarillo. Camisa is feminine, it's la camisa. So we need to change that O to an A to make it feminine. This next one, my shirt is gray. So we've already figured out my shirt is, mi camisa es. Then we need to know the word for gray. We can go to word reference and find gray. You can go to your textbook and find the word gray. Generally for Spanish 1, I say stick with your textbook. Sometimes there's more than one word for the same thing, and we want to stick with our textbook for now. So the word gray you'll find is gris. So that is not an O, so it ends in something else, so we are not going to change it. The next one, my shirt is green, mi camisa es. And then the word for green is verde. So verde ends in an E, which is not an O, so we are not going to change it. All right, so that's masculine and feminine. It all, again, depends on that noun. So let's move on to singular and plural. So again, when you look up these words in the dictionary or you see them in your textbook, generally it's going to be masculine and it's going to be singular. So sometimes we're going to need to change those adjectives to make them plural. So for example, if I'm saying my shirts instead of just my shirt, not my shirt is yellow, but my shirts are yellow. These should look familiar. It's the same thing that we do for nouns. So if it ends in a vowel, and again, vowels are A, E, I, O, and U, then we're going to add an S. If it ends in a consonant, that's anything other than A, E, I, O, or U, you're going to add ES. And then if it ends in a Z, and that's theoretical for now, we don't know any adjectives that end in a Z, but if it did end in a Z, you would change that Z to a C and then add ES. And that's because we don't like ZE in Spanish. So let's go back and take a look at our original sentences here. So if I want to change that from my shirt is yellow to my shirts are yellow, now my word is camisas. So that word is plural. Now here's a little something different. Me, that actually is an adjective. So that is a, let's see, it's called a possessive adjective. A possessive adjective. Whose is it? It's mine. So since it's an adjective, it does have to agree. So it ends in an I. So let's think about the gender for a second. It does not end in an O, so we're not going to change it. But we do also need to think about number. So shirts is plural. We need to change me and make that plural. So me ends in a vowel, I, so we're going to add an S there, mis camisas. Now what we have with S here, that says my shirts is. So we need to change S and make it R, so that would be son. And then we need to take care of yellow and make it agree with camisas. So camisa is feminine, we already took care of that and made that an A. It's also plural though, so we need to make that plural. A is a vowel, so we're going to add an S. Let's do the same thing for this next one. My shirt is gray. I'm going to say my shirts are gray. So again, we're going to change that to mis camisas son. Now I need to look at gray. So we took care of the gender a while ago. It does not end in an O. We're going to leave that alone. But for the number, we do need to make gris plural to go with camisas. So S is not a vowel, so we're going to add ES, grises. So even if it already ends in an S, don't think about this like in English, we are still going to add ES. All right, this next one, my shirts are green. Change it to mis camisas son. Now, verde, it ends in an E. We took care of the gender already. That E is not an O, so we don't change it to A, but we do need to make it plural. E is a vowel, so we're going to add S. So that is how we take care of gender and number. All right, last thing, and this is word order. So this takes us a little bit of getting used to. In Spanish, adjectives go after the noun. So let's look at this sentence. They are my blue shoes. So shoes is my noun here, and blue is my adjective. So in English, my adjective is first and my noun is second. But look at my sentence. Generally, the adjective goes after the noun. So it's noun first, adjective second. So we're going to need to switch those words around. So literally, we're going to say, they are my shoes blue. And we're going to need to make blue agree with shoes. So let's look at this sentence. They are. So to say they are, we say son, and then my blue shoes. So let's think about the basic words here. So my is me, blue is azul, zapatos is shoes, So let's take care of the word order first. We said we put shoes first and blue second. So we're going to switch these two words. Son mi zapatos azul. Now we're getting closer. So that's the right word order now. But we actually have two adjectives here. So me is that possessive adjective. And that's why it says generally adjectives go after the noun. Possessive adjectives don't. They go before. But then we have azul is another adjective. And those need to agree with zapatos because they are the boss of the sentence, biggest word. So zapatos is masculine. It is los zapatos. We're good here with me because that's an I, which is not an O, so we don't have to change it or anything. It's masculine anyway. Azul is by default masculine. Also, it ends in an L, so you don't ever have to change it and make it feminine. So azul is the only option gender-wise. Me is the only option gender-wise. But we still need to take care of the number. So zapatos is plural. It is shoes. So we need to make me plural. It ends in a vowel. So we're going to add that S there, mis. And then azul we need to make plural. Azul ends in a consonant. So the rule is we will add ES. So that is how we take care of adjectives in Spanish. Again, just to recap that, for gender, if the adjective ends in an O, change it to an A. If it ends in something else, leave it alone. And then to make the adjective plural, if it ends in a vowel, add S. If it ends in a consonant, add ES. If it ends in a Z, change that Z to a C, then add ES. And then finally, word